Hi lovelies, welcome to my most anticipated reads of 2018 video. I'm pretty excited to be doing this now, not only because it feels like 2017 went like that, but also because this year was my first year of really starting to get involved in Bookstagram and starting to do like my booktube videos and everything. So it feels like 2018 is like our year. This is like our year, our book video recommending like relationship sort of year. So we can go through this together, guys. And these 10 books that are coming up in the next, I'm guessing, like 10 minutes, are the 10 books that I am 100% super incredibly cannot wait for, excited to read. They've all been pre-ordered, they're all in my shopping bag on Amazon. There's a mix of YA, fantasy, there's some non-fiction in there. There isn't much adult at this stage. I'm sticking mainly to like the YA and non-fiction loves, because that's what I love. But if you have anything adult that I should be reading, then let me know and comment it below, and then I can have a look at those too and just add to my shopping list. Please God, someone send me book vouchers for Christmas. Right, without further ado guys, I'm gonna now kick off. So we are starting and we're going in chronological order of when these books will be released. So we're starting with the 4th of January, and that is Everless by Sarah Holland. In the land of Sempra, the rich control everything, even time. Ever since the age of alchemy and sorcery, hours, days, and years have been extracted from blood and sealed within an iron coin. The rich live for centuries and the poor bleed themselves dry. So that's just a snippet of the blurb, and that got me pretty excited. I mean, not only is this core fantasy YA, which we know that we love, and for God's sakes we need something to keep us going till May, till the next Sarah J Maas release, but the idea, not only that we have the class divide, because we have the rich and we have the poor, but equally by the sounds of it, you get your power, your wealth, your time on earth, your all your successes from your blood. And so money comes from blood. So it's like a real representation of people when people say that you put your blood, sweat and tears into a job. This is like the real deal. This is like literally your blood going into your money. I mean, so anyway, if you're poor, you end up putting all of your blood into these iron coins, from what I get, and then you have less and less time on this earth. So technically that means that the rich could live forever and the wealthy could live forever, and then they stay powerful. It's like a scary extreme version of the world today, which is why I quite liked it. You can see the similarities, I can see what Sarah Holland's trying to do here. But this is going to kick off my year, so this is 4th of Jan. This is like going to be one of the first books on my TBR for this year, and I'm pretty darn excited. It's also the first Sarah Holland book that I've ever read, so I mean, why not kick off the new year with a new author? Really, really fun. So the second book that I'm excited for, lots of you guys will know, because I'm sure that lots of you follow Sasha Ellsberg, and if you don't, why don't you? She's amazing. Like, amazing. In fact, even if you don't follow her, follow her for her dogs. I mean, like, seriously, check out those Instagram stories. So I'm really excited for Sasha Ellsberg and Lindsay Cummings' Zenith, which is out on the 11th of January. And what got me excited about this, apart from the fact that it's from Sasha and I feel like I have to read it, is because of the first line of the blurb on Amazon, which says, in fact I'm gonna have to read it, YA sci-fi featuring an all-girl spaceship crew, tick. Taking control and showing the boys how it's done, tick. With romance, tick. Tragedy, tick. And ray guns, tick, tick. A million ticks. I mean, who doesn't love a ray gun? An all amazing, powerful girl gang, and like boys being like, I'm loving that. It feels like a cooler version of Carve the Mark from what I'm reading so far, and I love a bit of space, and I started last year by reading Carve the Mark, so why can't I start this year by reading Zenith? So Zenith is definitely, I mean, I pre-ordered it this morning, it's definitely on my list of things to read at the start of the month, and I only wish that I could read it now and then review it sooner because I'm really excited. And the cover looks really awesome. In fact, everything about this book looks fantastic. I also love the fact that most of this book, from what I gather from the blurb, is set in space. I quite like that. It's not often that we get a full YA novel that is set in space. There's blends, I mean, occasionally, but no, this is full on. This is like space. There isn't much I can say about this book other than I'm really excited for a girl gang and space. And can I just say again, ray guns. Ray guns. Like, I am an ultimate Star Trek fan, so it's like a girl gang version of Star Trek in my head. I have no idea if that's what it really is, but in my head, as a pre-ordering why I'm pre-ordering this, it's a girl gang Star Trek. Yeah? So number 3 on my list is coming on the 8th of February, guys, and it's Melissa Albert's The Hazelwood. So this seems like a bit of a mystery book because the blurb talks about how Alice, the lead character who's 17, has always had a bit of bad luck and always been like on the road with her mother, basically. And Alice's grandmother lives in an estate called Hazelwood, hence the title of the book. And Alice's grandmother, who is an author, she dies, and then Alice obviously goes and lives in Hazelwood, and her mother goes missing, and it kind of feels like, one, a tale of bad luck, which you gotta love because there's a bit of mystery in there, but also a full-on tale of mystery and fantasy at the same time, which is really my cup of tea and great to start off my birthday month, which is February. So the reason I was quite excited about this book is because the person who steals Alice's mother away claims to be from Alice's grandmother's fictional world from her books. It's like a blending of universes, and as I'm reading, or as I'm finishing Daughter of Smoke and Bone series, I'm really into that blending of universes and crossing over the different types of people and that sort of thing right now. It's something I'm really into. So I'm really excited to carry on that trend for next year, and I think the Hazelwood seems like a really good way to do that. Also, the cover, can we just talk about how gorgeous this cover is? It's like all black with like the little gold like detailing on it. It's beautiful. Although on Amazon it seems to be like blue feathers, so I'm really hoping that you can still get what I'm assuming is the US cover. I'm really hoping I can get that in the UK because like Instagram. So number 4 on my list is heading on over into nonfiction, guys, and it's Text Me When You Get Home by Kaylee and Sheffer. And this is out on the 8th of February too. So this book got my attention because it's all about the idea of how important female friendship is, and I mean, there are so many non-fiction books coming out next year. I read loads of like lists about the books that you should be looking out for to inform this video for you guys. And there was so many non-fiction books all talking about terrorism and talking about refugees, and I get that, it's super important. We are in a really tumultuous time in the world, and I understand that it's important to be bringing these books out to both educate but also to keep a record of what's going on right now in the world. But I mean, I also want to read a bit of enjoyable non-fiction, so when I saw this book called Text Me When You Get Home, all about the importance of female friendship and how it has evolved across the years from being something that was always not shunned, but female friendship didn't used to be as big a thing. It wasn't as accepted a thing to just be with your girls and like have to focus on your girl life up until like your late 20s, early 30s, rather than focusing on finding a husband. And now, like, that is the thing. We're talking girl power, guys, and this is a theme running through my books at the moment. There is nothing wrong with a little bit of girl power. And this idea of text when you get home that girls say when they're leaving a nightclub, and they'll just say to all their girlfriends, text me when you get home. Make sure you're safe, looking out for each other. I think this is a great message, and I can't wait to read this book all about how these relationships have evolved across the years. I think it's really interesting. So can't wait for that on the 8th of February. The 5th one is also a non-fiction, and this is Brotopia by Emily Chang, and it's out on the 13th of February of this year. Interesting one, because it's very different to the last non-fiction, and it's all about the bro culture within Silicon Valley, and how Emily Chang, who is a Bloomberg reporter, how she has managed to navigate this like masculine dominated world, and also how this bro culture has managed to infiltrate and really keep women down in this sort of arena. I find it particularly interesting, obviously, because one, if you haven't noticed, I'm a woman, and two, I do go to work. And so I find it quite interesting in looking at internal business cultures, whether that's within an industry or whether that's within a specific business. I find it very interesting to see how these cultures develop over time. And so when I saw this book by Emily Chang, I thought, what an interesting perspective that I can get from this, because also it's in America, and the only perspectives that I have right now are from England because I'm in London, and I would just, yeah, love to see this from a different point of view. So I'll read you a little bit of the blurb, and it says, for women in tech, Silicon Valley is not a fantasy land of unicorns. Love a unicorn. Virtual reality, rainbows, and 3D printed lollipops, where millions of dollars grow on trees. It's a brotopia, where men hold all the cards and make all the rules. Vastly outnumbered, women face toxic workplaces rife with discrimination and sexual harassment. Where investors take meetings in hot tubs and colleagues network over lunch at local strip clubs. Now, I have never had to have a meeting in a hot tub, and I've never had to go to a strip club with work. However, I have noticed the bro or lad culture is rife. I mean, I work within media and advertising and marketing and all that sort of thing, and there is a definite lad culture in particular subsets of the industry, and so it's interesting to see how... I'd love to be a fly on the wall. It's really interesting to see how people change who they are when they see that this is the culture that they have to adapt to, and how the culture then grows from one small microcosm of, say, 5 people having this sort of lad brotopia, we'll call it, culture, and then it spreads throughout a company because people start flipping like dominoes and adapting to what they believe they have to do to succeed in this culture. Anyway, I don't know if that's what Emily's book is about, but it seems to be, so I'm really excited to read it, and that is out again in mid-February. Number 6, you will all have heard of, and it is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. This is out on the 6th of March, so the day before my sister's birthday. Why am I excited for this, may you ask? You will have heard a lot about this, I am sure. It's a fantasy, magic, YA, gorgeous little read. And I could read you the blurb and talk to you about how amazing it is. It's a great plotline, that's sort of a given. What I find interesting about this is that it's based in Nigerian mythology. We get a lot of books nowadays about mythology, and I mean, you know, the typical, like, he flew too close to the sun myths that we all know from Greek mythology, but I find it particularly interesting to read a book with a mythology that I know nothing about. I know nothing about Nigerian mythology, and so it feels weird that I'm going to be introduced to it via a YA read, but why not? Why not? I'm gonna go with that. And I think it's also the obvious, it's really important that we're promoting diverse YA literature because there isn't enough of it out there, so I'm gonna go for this. I'm really excited to read it. I think it's gonna be one of the biggest YA releases of this year, and the gorgeous Pam Macmillan are bringing it out, so even more pro that. So number 7 is The Immortalists by Chloe Benjamin, and this is out on the 8th of March. This storyline is a little bit more adult rather than YA, and the particularly interesting thing about this release is that it's based from the perspective, you've got 4 different children, the Gold children, and they all get told their the date they're gonna die, basically, by a fortune teller in New York City. And the book tells the story of the next few years, and if they are going to decide to live out their prophecies, if they're going to try and run away from them, if they're going to ignore them, basically what they're going to choose to do with the fact that they've been told the date they're going to die. What would you do? I mean, if I was told the date I was going to die, one, I really wouldn't want to know. I mean, if anybody has the power to tell me that, do not tell me that. I don't want to know how I'm going to die, I don't want to know when I'm going to die, because you would probably live in fear, which is why I'm particularly interested to read this book. I'm imagining it's going to be from a couple of different perspectives, one of which maybe is terrified, one of which is running away from it, one of which is ignoring it. I mean, that would make for a good story in my eyes, so I think this is going to be an interesting read. I think it's also going to be a little bit different to most of the stuff that I have on my TBR pile so far for 2018, so really looking forward to it. On the 10th of April, we have number 8 coming out, which is The Fates Divide by Veronica Roth. I read Carve the Mark when it came out last year, and I know that everybody was really divided in it. People were saying that it was a little bit racist, people were saying that it wasn't great towards disabled people because you had the lead character who was technically disabled, but they were saying that it's the disability that makes you stronger and all this sort of jazz and whatever, and I didn't really see any of that in it. I know that's an unpopular opinion, guys, and I'm really sorry, but I didn't. It could be because I'm not from a minority group, and I apologise that I don't understand the perspectives that you're coming from an awful lot of the time. I try my hardest, but I can never fully understand that perspective because I don't have any personal experience of being a minority group. But I am excited to see how this story evolves. Carve the Mark took me a while to get through, and there was two reasons for that. One, because it was a hardback and I hate reading hardbacks, but two, because I felt that the different perspectives were kind of dragging a little bit and the story didn't move fast enough. So although I wasn't obsessed with Carve the Mark when it first came out, I am really looking forward to the next book coming out because I just want to see if it gets a little bit further. I know Veronica Roth can write really well, so it's a case of maybe she has learned from the not mistakes, but she's learned from the difficulties that people had with Carve the Mark, and I'm hoping they've been brought into the next book. Either way, I'm definitely going to read it and I'm going to pre-order it, and I'm excited for it to come out so I can form my opinion about it. If anybody has an early release copy of this, please let me know because I would love to hear what you think of it before it comes out. Number 9, and we're now at the 1st of May, and you can just guess that this is A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. And it's like, I think I'm gonna have a separate calendar on my wall counting down the days till we get to see Rhys again. And this is even better because it's a book from the perspective of Rhys and the book from the perspective of Thea. And it's all about how we've sort of progressed from A Court of Mist and Fury, and how can you not want to read that? I mean, do I even need to sell this to you? Do I even need to talk to you about this? Because it's just going to be phenomenal. And that is all I have to say. And if you haven't read the A Court of Thorns and Roses series yet, what are you doing? I mean, you shouldn't even be starting 2018 without reading this. I'm like kind of disgusted in you. And I mean, I don't have that many subscribers or that many viewers, but I kind of don't want you as one unless you're going to go and read the Court of Thorns and Roses series. If you have a legitimate reason for not liking them, please comment below. Otherwise, bye in the nicest way possible. And the final book, the number 10 that we've got coming out next year that I'm really excited for, is coming out on the 29th of May. And that is Legendary by Stephanie Garber, and this is the second in the Caraval series. And I can't wait. I'm really excited, mainly because I just read Caraval and it was phenomenal and I loved it. And there was nothing about it that I didn't love because it was so vivid, and it was about a carnival, and I love carnivals and fairgrounds and all the magic and cozy mysticness of it. The only thing that I'm a little bit concerned about for this is because it's coming out in May. And to me, Caraval was such a cozy winter read. I'm a little bit nervous about reading the follow-up book in May because it's spring and it won't feel as cozy. So I'm gonna have to shut all my curtains and like have a really chilly drink and hope that it's raining, and it's London, so it probably will be raining, so I'll probably be okay with that. This is also from Tella's perspective, so this book is all about Tella going on a mystical journey to the capital to, I know not what she is, I know not what Tella is going to do in this book because the blurb on Amazon right now is pretty tiny, and it's basically just saying that Tella's going somewhere on a mission and an adventure and something amazing is going to happen in the capital, and that is all that I know. And that is all, hopefully, that, I mean, I'm hoping somebody can tell me something more of that, and I'm going to stop talking because I'm talking very fast. 2018 is going to be phenomenal, guys. I don't, like, all of those 10 books, and they are a tiny selection of the books that I'm looking forward to, but every single one of them I just want to start tearing through now. I can't wait. And I would love to know two things. One, what books are you excited to read that I haven't included so I can add them to my TBR pile? And two, what is your goal reads this year? I really want to know. How many books are you planning on reading? I'm thinking next year's going to be a busy year because I just changed jobs, and so I'm not going to have an awful lot of time at the start of the year. So I'm going to aim for, I think, around 75 books this year, which it's quite doable, I think. It's nothing crazy. It's less than 10 books a month, so it should be absolutely fine. But yeah, let me know what you're planning. I don't really use my Goodreads that much, but I do use my Instagram a lot, so like check in on what I'm reading and what you're reading, and let's just all have a fabulous year together, guys. thanks for tuning in, and I hope you have a fabulous Christmas if you don't check in again before Christmas, but otherwise I will be back again at the weekend as normal, and I think talking about a bit of a life update, because I've had some exciting stuff happen recently, and I want to tell you about them.